All right, everybody, we are live with the Combatcast, and we are going to start off with the people that pay the bills. Game up.
Yes, we'd like to thank the sponsor for the podcast, Game Up. They make a thirst-quenching adult beverage with a special blend of electrolytes. Comes in 4 great flavors in a variety 8-pack. The flavors are fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape.
That's right, guys. Low carb, only 110 calories, so enjoy yourself some Game Up. And Chevy, why don't we tell people what we got coming up?
All right, March 29th, UFC Fight Night Moreno versus Urseg. That's a 7 p.m. Eastern main card from Mexico. That should be a fun main card for sure.
Always good to see Moreno.
Yeah, if they load that card up with Mexican fighters, they're always fun too, especially in Mexico. Great fans there. So April 5th, UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Murphy, 9 p.m. Eastern Apex. Interesting matchup for sure. Big step up for Lerone Murphy. And then April 12th, UFC 314, Volkanovski versus Lopez, 10 p.m. Eastern pay-per-view from Miami. And that's the best card on paper that we've seen in a long time from the UFC.
Yes.
So, on the prelims, although it was on the, actually it might be on the main card now, but it was on the main card, then it went to the prelims and then on the main card. But Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull coming over from Bellator. That if they were going to put that fight on the prelims, that's how great this card is. So looking forward to that one.
All right, Chevy, let's quickly wrap up this weekend because me and you did not watch this card. We had stuff going on, and this was just not overall intriguing enough. We did talk about Ryan Spann, who was also on one of the fights earlier tonight, not looking good at heavyweight, not his division, it looks like.
Yeah, he got KO'd in the second round. He didn't look like he was enjoying the power at heavyweight. I mean, Waldo Cortez Acosta is a very powerful guy, but Ryan Spann did not want to get hit in there. He was not willing to take shots, and then he ended up getting clipped anyway.
So, co-main event, I believe we had a finish here.
Yeah, Chidi and Njokuani got a second round KO over Elizu Zielinski dos Santos. It's a lot of names. Mm-hmm. Just a couple of old guys going to war. We did think, well, at least I don't remember what your pick was, but I picked a KO, but I thought Elizu was going to be the one that got it. But yeah. Chidi was ended up on top in this one.
And the main event, Doherty's, I know I picked this one wrong. You did. We did disagree on this one.
I got this one right. Yeah, I picked Doherty's by decision. That's what happened. Marvin has a great chin. Doherty's is he has progressed past, and Marvin just really hasn't seemed to continue progressing, honestly.
Yes. And he did call out Whitaker or Adesanya recently. So those are hopefully fights he's looking to get. We'll see. Adesanya at this point, I don't know what he's looking for because, obviously at this point in his career, I think he may want to do one more fight, and see what he's got. But maybe it'll be Doherty's, I don't know. I guess he's got as good a shot of anybody. Good call out.
Yeah. I mean, it's great for Doherty's because Izzy's such a great name and he's kind of getting him at the tail of his career if he gets that. Mm-hmm. Izzy I think he should be in that Dustin Poirier realm where he is just looking for like exciting legacy fights, and Doherty's is not that currently. So I hope that can happen. But
I don't think it's a good fight for the UFC to make.
No, it's not good for. Yeah, I agree. It's not good.
All right, Joe, if you're listening, buddy, I need a different picture here. We have a UFC not pay-per-view, forgive me, but fight night this week. He's fucked up. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady, who, by the way, Bilal Muhammad just won the title from Leon Edwards, and Brady's only UFC loss is to Bilal Muhammad, so that's why he's on my mind. So
yeah, by knockout, which is noteworthy because Bilal's not known for having the best hands.
Yeah, so this is our fight night preview. You can put the picture right here. So Brady and Edwards. We'll talk about the main event and the exciting co-main event. I didn't realize this was on his show. But are there any other fights on here? I think I saw Kevin Holland is he's fighting somebody that I thought was interesting too.
Yeah, he's fighting Gunnar Nelson.
Gunnar Nelson, yeah.
Prelims, no huge names or anything, but typical English card, London card with it being good matchups, a lot of good fights on there. So I will be making sure to watch this one. Main card also starts at 3 p.m. Eastern, so that makes it a lot easier. But before that Gunnar Nelson Kevin Holland fight, Molly Meatball McCann is on the card against Alexia Thainara. They're giving Molly a grappler. She's just coming off the Contender Series, but she only has like one loss ever. So
tough fight.
Yeah, tough fight. Molly does feed off the crowd and everything, but she struggles with grapplers. So,
I know.
I'll probably take Alexa in that one. But yeah, you want to talk about this Gunnar Nelson and Kevin Holland one?
Yeah, I didn't write anything down for it, but I mean, I'm interested in Gunnar Nelson coming back after all this time. Holland has been up and down, and I would say mostly down lately in terms of his results. So it's an interesting fight for both of them. Stylistically wise, I mean, both are decent on the ground if it gets to that too. I think it's a fun fight. It's kind of hard to predict because the inactivity versus the inconsistency factor. I'm going to go Holland, even though part of me, I'm kind of rooting for Gunnar Nelson here.
Yeah, Gunnar is very inactive. I think he's had a lot of injuries, and Kevin should probably be less active because he's got so many losses. Maybe he should be in the gym working on some new techniques or something. But big step down in competition for Kevin also. Gunnar is great, but I mean, he's no RDR or these other like top level guys that Kevin's ended up having to fight. So still a very tough fight. On the feet, I normally favor Kevin and give Gunnar the advantage on the ground, but Kevin can't buy a win right now. So I'm going to pick Gunnar by decision. But I think Kevin needs the win more because he could be on his way out. I mean, I know he's really fun and everything, but you can't come in and just lose every fight he's got. Like, he's lost like 6 out of 7 or something like that. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I like both those guys, but yeah, it's a tough position to be in. But it's an interesting fight just for those reasons.
Yeah, very fun fight for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this co-main event: Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. Tough matchup.
Yeah, Carlos Ulberg is an interesting matchup here. 11-1, 7 KOs, 1 sub, 3 decision. He's 7-2 in the UFC. Let's see. He's had fight of the night 1 time, performance of the night twice. He's got the 3rd fastest knockout finish in UFC light heavyweight division over Alonzo Menafield. So he's got some power in there. Jan Blachowicz, 29-10-1, 9 KOs, 9 subs, 11 decisions. This guy can win anywhere you go. He's the former light heavyweight champion. Performance of the night 5 times, fight of the night once. I think he's tied for 5th most bouts in UFC light heavyweight division history. Whatever, that's not necessary. But what I find interesting is he had a draw with the current light heavyweight champion, and that fight with the former light heavyweight champion, he arguably lost. It was one of those things. So he is about as big a step up you can get for Carlos here, who's got some momentum going. It's an interesting fight for Carlos at this point because Jan hasn't been super active, and this would be the time maybe you can catch him with that big momentum. I'm not going to pick him because I need to see that Jan, is on his way out. I have no indication of believing that because his last fight was a draw with the current light heavyweight champion. So I'm going to go Jan Blachowicz. I'm going to go 3rd round TKO because I think he'll do what he has to do, wear him down, and then he'll be able to take control in the 3rd round.
Yeah, like you said, Carlos, he's been destroying guys, but Jan is well above anyone else that he's faced. If Carlos can get a win, he'd probably next in line for a title shot for sure. The draw with Ankalaev might hinder, I think with Dana and them, might hinder Jan more than help him if he is to win. But Jan is 42 now, by the way. That could slow him down, causing him to get hit a little bit more. but he's made of stone, basically. So I think I'll pick the legendary Polish Power by TKO in round 2, I'll say.
Okay, so we're pretty much in agreement. You're going around for me. But I do have to say this, though. Carlos Ulberg, if he is able to finish Jan Blachowicz, he is basically almost got a ticket to the light heavyweight championship at this point. Like
he should,
Pereira,
yeah.
Yeah, like Pereira probably has a rematch because he was a star. But if Pereira doesn't take that match for some reason, or if he holds off on that fight, like Carlos is like, he's either there or he's waiting or he's one fight away at that point.
Yeah, and Ulberg versus Pereira is also a fun fight if Pereira becomes champ again. So, yeah. I mean, don't want to root against Jan, especially when he's at the tail of his career, but Ulberg is an exciting prospect. So
he would bring some interest. I just can't see him winning at this point. I haven't seen a reason yet to think Jan. Yeah. It's tough,
very, very tough ask. Yeah. All right, let's talk about this main event. I'm excited for this one. Yeah. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady.
Sean Brady, 17-1, 3 KOs, 5 subs, 9 decisions. Only loss to the current champ, Bilal Muhammad, 7-1 in UFC. Performance of the night twice. He's got wins over guys like Kelvin Gastelum. Like, Sean Brady is a contender. Leon Edwards, though, he's the former champion. 22-4-1, 7 KOs, 3 subs, 12 decisions, 14-3-1 in the UFC. Like I said, former welterweight champ. He's arguably the guy that could be fighting Bilal, right? He didn't clear out his division, because he had to do the rematch with Usman, and then, he fought Kobe. But these were all tough challenges. He's got past them. It's an interesting time because Edwards is coming off that loss, had some time off, and now Brady has a chance with some momentum to catch him here. A little different, though, right? Because Edwards is not Jan in the sense that he's not older. He's not past his prime. He seems like a really smart guy, too. Like, he probably did well with his time off. I like Brady. I don't rule his chances out here, but I think you have to favor Edwards. I'm going to go Edwards, and I'm going to go, again, a late round finish. I'm going to go round 4. I think the pressure and everything, Edwards will eventually find an opening. Again, this is a guy who won his title with a 5th round TKO. So I think he's always dangerous, and I think that'll be the plan here.
Edwards was preparing for Jack Della Maddalena until recently, and Brady is a much different fighter, so that could affect his game plan. I mean, he's had a couple weeks, but still, I mean, Jack was going to go in there and box him, and Sean Brady is an elite black belt grappler. So on the ground, Edwards should probably get gift wrapped by Brady, but he has good distance management, a really good takedown defense. So there is a question if he's ever going to get him to the ground. Sean's going to have his hands full on the feet. Of course, we know Leon, great kickboxer. Obviously, you highlighted that amazing left high kick that put out Usman for him to win the title. But if Sean can mix in the threat of the takedowns and be the pressure fighter, it's important for him to be the one going forward. Because when Bilal beat him, Bilal was backing Sean up to the cage. And if Leon is able to back Sean up, that's where he is going to do his best work. And he's going to style on Brady. So Brady needs to be the one going forward. He needs to get Leon's back against the cage, try to mix in some takedowns, and he'll be able to land shots on the cage too, but he has to do whatever he can to get him down and then, hold him there, hopefully tire him out a little bit. Because once he gets him to the ground, he should be able to do whatever he wants. So I think that at some point he will be able to get him there and get him down. He's full of confidence. He just had that one loss, like you said. So ultimately, I think I'm going to pick Brady. I'll say round 4 sub.
Oh, okay. So we're going.
Yeah.
Same round, different guys. All right. So I will say this too. I think also there's a really good chance the winner of this is going to be looking at a title shot.
Yeah. Welterweight is one of the ones where someone gets a really good finish that could propel them to the top.
Mm-hmm.
Because Shavkat is going to be in that mix. JDM, he's got a fight coming up. He could sneak in there. Ian Gary's up there. So what's that?
Who is Bilal?
He's fighting. Yeah, that's right. He's stepping in. He's getting a fight against Bilal because Shavkat was hurt or whatever. So
right.
Yeah, it's a log jam up at the top, but yeah.
Right. I'm just saying Edwards being a former champion.
Right, one loss. Yeah.
Yeah, so he could definitely make a case if he wins, and if Brady can stop him and beat him, he's definitely going to be But Shavkat's right there too, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Ian Gary's up. He's up in there.
And who knows what's going to happen with a title fight these days? I mean, you got to have an eye poke, everybody.
Nobody better get fucking poked in the eye. Yeah, that's also. I mean, the UFC is full of boring champions currently, so wonder if they'll be manipulating any potential shots for that. But
yeah, I do wonder, right? And like if they could kind of switch things around, and there's talk that their pay-per-view buy rates are down, and this should have been around the ring, but ESPN Plus and them don't have a great relationship right now, which I'm not upset about it. We've talked about on the show. We're hoping that that's an exit. So ESPN Plus, they had their struggles with the last pay-per-view, and UFC's mad at them. ESPN Plus is mad. Great. Let's end this relationship. Go to Netflix, And I just want to say, I'm going to add this too. I'm going to add one more thing. I personally think one of the biggest things, and I've been saying this for a while, with the UFC, what I think is less is more. You want better fights. You want better. Pull back a little bit here. We don't need a crappy card every weekend. If you can't put an exciting card together, it's like. Yeah,
even if you did every other weekend, like it just like you can't have. What was that fight? I don't want to call the two girls out, but there was a terrible fight on the pay-per-view on the main card. Like it was just an awful. Like if you look back at some of the old, like when Fox had the regular fights on their card, like they didn't have fights every weekend, but they were fire. Like Cody Garbrandt on his way up was fighting on like the early prelims and stuff. So
I think you almost would. I'd like to see a model of like almost like instead of the Contender Series, which is great, and I'm glad they got that. I'd like to see like actual fight cards, like not the pay-per-views. Keep the pay-per-views once a month, but like a season of like fight cards where maybe 8 weeks out of the year. You run fight cards back there. You try to put top contenders with each other, and gear them up. And then you could do that. You just take 8 cards. You take your 12 pay-per-views. And then if that's not enough, here's my compromise. Do what you did on before. Remember FS1 had all, but Big Fox had 4 big special fight cards. And you do that. You're looking at 24, maybe 25 shows. That would be
that's a lot less in production for the UFC to cut costs. Also, you don't need 500 plus fighters on the card. The only problem with cutting it down to like a 8-week season is injuries and like timing that kind of stuff out. That would like if an injury happens, the guy's out for a whole year, he's not getting paid, and
it would change the game. I'm sure fighters wouldn't like it because at the end of the day, not as many fighters would get opportunity. But it's tough business, I would imagine, right? Not everybody's going to get opportunities. So that's just the way it goes.
And then I guess the argument against that with the UFC, they're on every weekend. There's no off season. People are always talking about the UFC because it's always on. But, and I know people say all press is good press or whatever. But these watered down cards are getting a lot of hate online from a lot of people. So
we used to not even have pay-per-views every month.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like I don't think 25 fights, 25 fight cards a year would be like murder on anybody. You know what I mean? It's like
also the American fans have to pay for these pay-per-views, but all these fans overseas that they're trying to build the markets and they don't pay for pay-per-views. So
one thing I did hear, and I can't remember the source, but I wish I remembered it, but I did hear that UFC was one thing they liked about possible going to Netflix was not necessarily a fan of the pay-per-view model. They were flexible. And I think that would be really nice to see.
Yeah, Netflix is going to get their money. They're going to it'll be $50 a month if you want UFC fights or something like that. So I wouldn't get too hyped up about that. We're going to get fucked one way or another.
Yeah, you did tell me that thing you have where you're on the lower tier with Netflix and you can't even cast.
Yep. I can't stream from my phone to my TV because I don't pay for the higher tier of Netflix. So.
That's so ridiculous. Oh,
yeah.
God. Come on, Netflix. I still think they'd be a better match. But anyway, all right, that's going to be it for this week. We actually went a little longer than I thought. There was really not much to talk about. But why don't we tell people what we got coming up one more time?
All right, March 29th, UFC Fight Night, Moreno versus Urseg, 7 p.m. Eastern card from Mexico. And then April 5th, UFC Fight Night, Emmett versus Murphy, 9 p.m. from the Apex. And then April 12th, we're all looking forward to this one, UFC 314, Volkanovski versus Lopez, 10 p.m. from Miami.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a good card. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week and talking more about fights.
If you haven't tried Game Up, then you are missing out. Imagine your favorite seltzer and your favorite sports drink had a baby, but it's way better than that. Each can is 110 calories, low carb, 4.9 ABV. It's a nice light drink that is not light on flavor. Game Up comes in fruit punch, orange, lemon, lime, and grape. Pick it up at drinkgameup.com or at your nearest liquor store.